Hello, I'm Molly. I'm one of the Hair Nerds contributors, and I'm a cosmetology student here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm also really sorry that I'm 6 minutes late to this live appointment, but I actually had to Google how to go live on Facebook, so you guys are in for a real treat. This is more like a get to know me kind of video. I'm a contributor for the Hair Nerds, and this is more of like a Q&A style sort of thing that we have going on here. So I'm going to jump into these questions. The first one is, what job path were you on before you made a career move? So I actually went to college here at a university in Utah for a couple of years, and I had every intention of becoming a registered nurse. I actually currently work full-time in a hospital here. And I worked really hard on trying to pursue that degree, but the more that I worked in the healthcare field, the more that I realized I might have an equal amount of passion for other things. So then that brings me to my next question, which is, what made you switch careers and what was your thought process? So at first it was really, really hard for me to make this decision. I love my job, but like I said, the two things that interested me always were doing hair and making people feel good about themselves. And so I was really drawn to nursing because I wanted to care for people, and I wanted to make them feel better, and I wanted them to be happy. And then growing up, I also loved doing my friends' hair and playing with dolls, and I also think that I just had an eye for hair. And so the more that I went to school for nursing and the more that I've worked in the healthcare field, I've just realized that, you know, I might not need to be so professional education oriented. And so after a lot of thinking, I decided to switch career paths and go to cosmetology school. And I think one of the things that made it a lot easier for me to make that decision was that this is really just 18 months of my life. 18 months is really a small amount of time in the grand scheme of things, especially when it comes to deciding what you want to do and making a career path. So I guess I also found comfort in knowing that I could continue to pursue nursing if I ended up not liking this, but thank goodness I do. What is your ideal situation once you graduate? Okay, I would love to assist for somebody, and I tell some people this and they think I'm crazy because they're like, well, you just got out of school. Why do you want to go back to school and basically be doing hair and not making as much money as you could be making? But I just think that even though I'm confident in my skills and the things that I've learned while in school so far, I would really like to fine-tune the basics and see what other ways there are that other people might have to accomplish, you know, the perfect end result that their client is looking for. And as of right now, I also think that I am going to go back to school and finish my BSN, just so I can work maybe even one day a week as a nurse, because I still really love my job. Your hopes from school. So I guess my main hope is to have like a decent clientele when I try to leave there. And I work really hard and I'm pretty diligent about pre-booking people and trying to bring my own clients in instead of just walk-ins or people that the school tries to bring clients in for us. And I just want to try to bring my own in, I guess. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. And I also just want to have a really good general knowledge base of cosmetology. I know that I'm not going to know everything, but I want to know that the things that I'm taught in school, I fully comprehend. And so I've studied really hard, especially on like color theory and things like that. Annie says, where do you want to assist? There's a few cool salons here in Salt Lake City, but I've actually been looking at Salon O, and I really, really like them, and I like their assisting program. So I'm hoping to get in with them, and I know a couple of girls that are there as well, so hopefully they can help me, but I want to assist for at least 1 year before I try to jump into just taking all of my own clients. Fears while in school. Wow. So before I decided that I wanted to assist somewhere, I feared that I would just totally fall flat on my face when I left school. And I don't really know why I feel that way, because while I'm in school, I feel really confident. Like, I feel good about taking clients. I feel good about walk-ins. I feel good about meeting strangers. I feel good about the clients that I know that are sitting in my chair. But for some reason, the thought of doing all of these things when I leave is a little bit scary. And before we leave, there's an exit interview at the school that I go to. And a lot of the girls that I've seen that leave end up saying that they're not going to do hair. And that was really scary for me in the beginning, because I guess I want to do hair. So I would always think like, oh, why, why did you go through all of this just to leave after and do something different? And I mean, I also say I'm going to finish nursing school, but I fully intend on doing hair full time. I guess I just fear all of the competition as well. Like, here in Utah, the beauty industry is really heavily saturated, and there are a lot of really talented girls, which is like both a blessing and a curse, because I can learn so much from people, but I also am competing with those people. And I mean, that's what it is. As much as we'd like to help each other, we also want to keep our chair open. And so I think that is just one of my biggest fears. What doors has this industry already opened up for you? A lot. So Lisa Yamasaki and her husband Ken Yamasaki planned a trip to Japan for a bunch of students at my school. I think there was, well, I guess not a bunch, but there was like 13 or maybe 15 of us that went, and I was lucky enough to be able to afford to go on the trip. And I loved everything about that trip. It really pushed me out of my comfort zone on so many levels. I'm actually a really shy person, unless you're my friend and you've gotten to know me. I'm pretty quiet, and I keep to myself a lot, and I'm really afraid of flying, and I've never really traveled without my family or my spouse, and so that trip was really out of character for me, to just jump on a plane with a bunch of people that I don't know, and I had no idea where I was going. And I actually stayed with a host family, so we flew all the way to Tokyo, and then we got on another flight from there, and we flew to Fukuoka, and we stayed with, people that we had never met before by ourselves. And that part really scared me, but it also pushed me out of my comfort zone and taught me how to be more outgoing and to get to know people, and I really loved being immersed in the culture. And that trip also, I mean, even though it was personally life-changing and it changed a lot of who I am and the way that I see things, it also gave me opportunities to network. So that's actually how I met Annie from the Hair Nerds, and essentially how I became a contributor for the Hair Nerds. So it did a lot for me industry-wise and a lot for me personally, and so I would have to say that's one of the biggest doors that this industry has opened up to me so far. And then I also wanted to talk about 3 things that are really, really important to me, and I guess my own personal success as a student in this industry. And I would say number 1 is that I try to take all opportunities that are given to me. If I get a request for a new client with a complicated color correction, or I get the opportunity to, travel the world with a hair nerd, or if I get to network and strengthen my resume, I am always, always, always going to say yes. And I think that has really helped me, especially as a student. I feel like I've been given opportunities that I never thought that I would have as a student, and taking advantage of all of them is really one of the best things that I think I could have done for myself. In fact, when Annie asked me to be a hair nerd, I was just blown away, because sometimes I think I might not fit into this industry as much as some other people do, and I don't know if that's because I tried doing something else for so long, or because I just keep to myself, but I don't know. I was just really, really, really excited, and I couldn't believe that she asked me to do that. So anyway, that's number 1. I think it's really important to say yes to all opportunities that are given to you. Number 2 would be that I try not to take myself too seriously. If something doesn't turn out perfectly, I try again. If something is perfect, I try to stay humble. I would never want someone to think that I would, use them as a stepping stone to get into this industry where I'd like to be, and then, ditch them in the dust. I would like to reach the top of my goal list, but I would also like to bring other people with me. And so I think that's number 2, don't take yourself too seriously and just love other people in the process. And then number 3, this is totally an industry where I know that I'm going to have to prioritize continued education. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't wait to finish these 1,600 hours. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I need 2,600 because there's just so much stuff that you can learn. And as much as we can understand the basics in that 1,600 hours, there's so many people that I feel like just know so much. And so I know I'm always going to have to prioritize continuing my education, and I guess if there's like a next best thing in here, I'm going to just plan on spending the money to learn it. So, why do I find beauty school and a license necessary? I feel like that could be interpreted in many different ways. I feel like education in general is really important. Like, people shouldn't be performing services without the proper tools that are necessary. And I see that a lot sometimes. Like, even I did it, like, before I decided I was going to do this, I would totally go to, like, the beauty supply store that didn't require a license, and I would just get all, like, willy-nilly on my friend's head with a color. But I totally understand the importance of, education and being a licensed cosmetologist, because we are people who put forth effort and put forth a bunch of time and money and studying to be able to offer these services to people, and I do think that's really important. I mean, someone's got to do it, right? What is something significant that has happened to you in school so far? Okay, there's a lot of things, but I would say the number one thing that I'm astonished about is how many instructors trust me with their whole heart. And I would say the friendships that I've made and the people that I've met and the doors that have been opened up to me are the most significant things to me about school, because they've really made a lasting impression on the person that I would like to grow to be in this industry. Another thing that I will never forget is we had a guest artist, and well, we have a lot of guest artists, but this one in particular, it was the first guest artist I'd ever seen, and it was almost like an answer to all of the things that I have wished for and hoped for and thought about. It was maybe my first week of school, and that first week of school, I seriously was like, oh, what have I done? Like, what have I gotten myself into? This is not me. I need to just go back to, school in the healthcare industry. And anyway, I was just really thinking, what have I done to myself during the first week of school? And Audrey Lutz was our first guest artist, and this whole room sat and was just totally captivated by him, and I honestly had no idea what I was in the presence of. Like, people would be like, these guest artists are literally the most amazing things and you're gonna love them. And for me, I'm just like, I don't really know a lot about people in the hair industry other than, that I like getting my hair done and I like making people feel good about themselves, and I thought I had a good eye for it. Like, I had no idea who people were, really. And I actually still don't. But I remember sitting down and listening to him, and he was talking about all the things that he has sacrificed to get to where he is, and how many things had to change, and he just was really inspiring. And at the very end, he opened it up to questions for his audience, and I remember asking him, like, how do you, some derivative of how do you deal with rejection from other people when you tell them that this is the career path that you have chosen? And how does he deal with people saying, you know, oh, that's not a real career, or that's not a real education, or does he have the people in his life that look down on him? Because that's something I struggled with when I started school, and not really like my family. They were really supportive and always are of everything that I do, but some people that I work with were like, what? You know, Molly would be a great nurse, and we don't think you should do this, and then which is nice. It's nice that they think that I would be good at that. But then there were other people who were like, wow, I am so surprised that you are throwing this all away. And I just was like, oh, well, yeah, me too. Like, this is scary for me. And anyway, I just remember him like giving me a round of applause for choosing what really makes me happy, and everyone was clapping, and I cried, and it was just so sappy. But that also is one of the most significant things that has happened to me, because that day seriously was the day that I was like, oh, I'm not leaving here. I'm gonna put these 1600 hours in, and I am not gonna leave until it's finished, and this is where I'm supposed to be, because there are other people out there that can relate to this. And, you know, they may not have tried to be nurses, but they could have tried to be something else and still decided this, or had people that didn't support them. So anyway, that was really significant. Then my other question is, what is something that has surprised you about the industry? Well, I guess this goes both ways, but I'm actually really surprised by how many people are willing to just like give their secrets to you and help you and teach you the things that you need to know to be successful. I'm surprised that people would share their color formulas with me, or I don't know, that they would tell me what products are their favorite, or what I need to change, and what they would recommend for me, or color placement, or all of these things. I've honestly been blown away by the amount of love and sharing that goes on. But then I am also surprised by the people that haven't been willing to help me. And so I guess it goes both ways. I'm surprised by how friendly people are, and then I'm also surprised by people that were really close to me that showed me maybe more competition than I would have been willing to show them. So, I mean, I'm not trying to say anything bad, but that, I guess, is the most surprising thing to me. And then I also think the political aspect of the industry was a little surprising to me. Like, the hospital is political, and, you know, every other job I've had is political, but I guess I just didn't anticipate, like, a world of hair people to be kind of political as well. So that was a little bit surprising. But other than that, nothing else has really surprised me. I mean, just how friendly and warm and welcoming people have been has been really good. And I guess I just didn't expect that, because I also didn't expect to be here. So anyway, that is everything that, you know, I've thought of sharing today, and those are all the questions that I have to answer. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you follow me on my journey to be a hair nerds educator. Not educator. Oh my gosh, what am I? A contributor. That's embarrassing. Anyway, have a good day. Bye.